The opposition in Barbados walks out of Parliament and pledges not to return until there's a new government. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Friday, February 23. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Ricardo Roberts. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Barbados opposition party has walked out of Parliament and say they are not going back. That is until a new government is elected. The abrupt end to the parliamentary term for the Barbados Labour Party occurred after opposition leader Mia Mottley was not allowed to complete the process of laying the Public Accounts Committee report for 2013 to 2018 before the House. Deputy Speaker Mara Thompson refused to allow Mottley, who is also a PAC chairman, to complete the process after Government Minister Donville Innes had objected to Mottley's attempt to give notice of the report. Innes told legislators that although he is a PAC member, he was not invited to the final meeting at which the document was discussed. At a news conference later, Mottley said the opposition legislators would not be returning to the upper chamber until the next parliamentary term begins following general elections, which are constitutionally due by June.
What ensued is a most unfortunate set of events, and indeed has led to the Barbados Labour Party's decision that our involvement in the Parliament of 2013 to 18 is now over. We will not be returning to this Parliament because of the conduct of this Deputy Speaker and the members of the government side. The member for St. James South got up to try to say that he did not have notice of the meeting and that they did not have proper notice of the report, that he needed more time. He said at least he got it. He admitted after an exchange with me that he did write, indicating that he would be late. The member for St. Michael South Central, Richard Seeley, got up to say that he never got a draft copy of the report. And I had to remind them that prior to the meeting of the 9th of February, they got a copy of the draft report from Mr. Bayer. So that in circumstances, there was no basis upon which they can claim that they did not have notice of the meeting, that they did not have notice of the draft report, nor that they did not have notice of the final report.
Mottley says, with the exception of Innes, members of the government have not attended PAC meetings for more than a year. She maintains that she followed the correct procedure for serving notice of the report, and she's questioning why there is a debate on the matter.
I know of no other similar circumstance where notice has been given of a report and the House comes back 20 minutes later to say that they cannot have, and they use language which is not the appropriate language because they now want to say that it was not laid properly. I never laid anything. What is required of me as chairman of the Public Accounts Committee is to give notice. And I said when the speeches were going on this morning that what they may want to say, and I don't agree with what they've said because the facts don't support it, but even if they wanted to make those points, the appropriate time at which to make those points is literally when the report is being moved for its adoption in debate, not when notice is given. And we see it all the time. Notice is given of many things, but you can't debate it at the point at which notice is given. And this morning, a new practice emerged where members of the government were allowed to, in my view, offend the rules of Parliament and to give themselves the width and opportunity to debate things which would not otherwise be debated.
Mottley said the BLP would not be party to efforts by the government to do what it could and did not do over the last 10 years. The current Parliament automatically dissolves on March 5, but Prime Minister Franda Stewart is yet to announce the date for the upcoming poll. Still in Barbados, a lecturer at the Cave Hill campus of the University of the West Indies was among protesters who disrupted a public lecture given by St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves on Thursday night. Gonsalves was visiting the campus to deliver a lecture on natural disasters when political science lecturer Dr. Christina Hines and two other women carrying placards stood chanting "Justice for Women." Their protest came amid rising public pressure on the Vincentian Prime Minister over his handling of the matter, in which a former model, Eugene Farrell, claims to have been involved in an extramarital affair with his son, Camilio, the country's finance minister. The protesters shouted, "Women lives matter too, not just black lives."
Not just black lives. We don't just want to help with natural disasters. We want to help to ensure that our political system guarantees justice for all. Justice for all.
I wonder.
Justice for all.
I wonder if my dear sisters, at some appropriate time.
This is appropriate. Not
No, just bear with me now. Just bear with me.
We have been bearing, sir.
At some appropriate time, I am prepared to have a discussion with you with all of those issues which you have raised. I think they're important issues.
They are important issues that require addressing, not silence, not dignified silence.
You came here to hear the Prime Minister now.
Over the last 10 years,
you want to hear the Prime Minister?
20 years, I will not be silenced, just as Mr. Tommy John is not silenced for all that he believes in. Justice for women and for all. This is the way we will be heard, because this is the only way women are going to get heard on this issue.
The protest is said to have lasted for 10 minutes before security personnel escorted the women from the lecture theatre. The women continued their protest outside the room and were then confronted by armed police officers who instructed them to leave.
Shouting and asking for justice? Are there no criminals that really need to have armed police officers address their matter? Or is this the most pressing thing happening in Barbados right now? Just
check your ministers of government.
Like 5 police officers were brought here to deal with 3 women keeping little noise. Just wondering. Okay. It's a bit excessive, isn't it? It is a bit excessive, isn't it?
Bulletproof vest.
We're going to shoot you with Bristol board.
Oh, another police officer, task force officer.
That's not fair, though. That's not fair. That's not right. That's all right. I'm sorry, that's not fair.
Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley is refuting claims that Muslims in the Twin Island Republic are being targeted for persecution by law enforcement. Now addressing a constituency meeting of the People's National Movement on Thursday night, he was adamant that the security services do not engage in religious persecution. Rowley's comments came after some members of the Muslim community were arrested and some charged following police investigations into an alleged plot to disrupt Carnival earlier this month.
Heard it said in recent days that we are persecuting Muslims because the security services have picked up people and is investigating allegations of threat and misconduct of persons who may or may not be Muslims. But let me tonight, as Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, speak to all the people of Trinidad and Tobago and to the world that there's no policy and has never been any policy in Trinidad and Tobago to persecute or prosecute anybody based on their religion.
Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, Jamaica's Governor General intervenes in a row over the appointment of a Chief Justice. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Come and experience fun, meet amazing people, and enjoy fantastic food at the 22nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival. 5 days of festivities from June 27th to July 1st of 2018, with main stage performances from the 28th to the 30th. Here's the first wave of confirmed acts. The legendary Patti LaBelle, Queen of Dancehall, Spice, Miss Lauryn Hill. Many more acts to be announced. Book now and save the date. For more information, log on to StKittsMusicFestival.net. The St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other.
Come, sail with us through our ocean blues, where there's a blessed land that's waiting for you. Shh. Look, listen, feel. Realize your dream escape that's magically surreal. The best kept secret, a place you'll never forget, where adventure beckons with every gentle footstep. From lush mountain green to warm volcanic sand, submerged in splendor, our 32 enchanting islands. A kaleidoscope of experiences. No need to look anymore. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Caribbean you're looking for.
Welcome back. We continue in Jamaica, where Governor General Sir Patrick Allen has intervened in the controversy surrounding the appointment of a Chief Justice. But there's still no timeline for a resolution to the issue 22 days after a Chief Justice was appointed to act until further notice. TVJ's Vashan Brown reports.
It's been making headlines for weeks, the appointment of an acting Chief Justice. In a statement on Thursday, King's House said the Governor-General met with representatives of the three branches of government last Friday. The Governor-General noted that the meeting was called to address recent developments and allay anxieties that the public may have. The executive was represented by the Prime Minister, the Ministers of Finance and the Public Service, National Security, Justice and the Attorney General. The legislature was represented by the Speaker of the House of Representatives and the President of the Senate. The judiciary by the acting Chief Justice, the President of the Court of Appeal, the senior and other puisne judges. According to King's House, the meeting was intended to explore ways in which each of the branches of government can collaborate and support the smooth operation of the country's governance structure and provide the best service to the people of Jamaica. The Prime Minister requested the meeting of the three branches in response to what the King's House release called a perceived threat to the independence of the judiciary. The Prime Minister reiterated that the executive had no intention of undermining or diminishing the role of the judiciary and that his primary interest is to ensure that all of government works in the best interest of the people and that public resources are efficiently used and properly accounted for. The judiciary declared that the three branches of the government were separate but not separated, equal and independent in their core functions, while acknowledging that all branches had to work together. They agreed that the meeting allowed for misunderstandings to be cleared up on major issues of concern in a manner that does not bring the judiciary into disrepute and kept it beyond reproach.
In Trinidad and Tobago now, the driver of a garbage truck caught on camera dumping trash onto the street during a protest in East Port-of-Spain early Monday morning is to reappear in court on March 21st. Lance Cupido, who was charged with obstruction and littering, pleaded not guilty when he appeared in a Port-of-Spain magistrate's court on Friday. Police say he was questioned on Monday following the protest staged by residents over the killing of Akel James, also known as Christmas. The 28-year-old Cupido claims he was ordered at gunpoint to dump the garbage on the road. If found guilty of the obstruction charge, he could be fined $200 TT and could be imprisoned for up to a month. Cupido could also be fined $4,000 or spend up to 6 months in prison if found guilty of littering. Still in the Twin Island Republic, President of the Oil Field Workers Trade Union, Ansel Roger, has responded to the announcement that government-owned company Petrotrin plans to split its operations into two separate businesses. Roger told local media that any attempts to reorganize the company must be discussed with his union, which represents most of the workers there.
they are without the ideas to rescue Petrotrin, and any reorganization or reorganizing Petrotrin has to have the total involvement of the recognized majority union, and in this case it is Fees Workers Trade Union. We would have a lot to say about that.
It's being suggested that it's too soon to assess the viability of the Venezuela's newly launched cryptocurrency. The suggestion from Vice President of Enterprise Integration and Sales, BIT Inc., Roland Haggins, who was the feature speaker on Thursday at a lecture on Bitcoin and blockchain technology organized by the Open Campus of the University of the West Indies and the Barbados Central Bank. Venezuela launched its digital currency in response to the economic blockade from the United States. Now, during Tuesday's launch, President Nicolas Maduro said the currency is backed by the country's crude oil reserves. Haggins said using the assets of a country is to back its digital currency is a good thing.
But an asset-backed currency, if it really is truly backed by these assets, could be something valuable. So in the future, potentially we're going to see, and this is looking way down the line, many countries start to issue asset-backed currencies, and then the value of their currencies would be reflective of the resources that those countries have.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, Windward Islands volcanoes to face Barbados in the weekend's final of the regional Super 50. Stay with us, sport is next.
Come and experience fun, meet amazing people, and enjoy fantastic food at the 22nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival. 5 days of festivities from June 27th to July 1st of 2018, with main stage performances from the 28th to the 30th. Here's the first wave of confirmed acts. The legendary Patti LaBelle, Queen of Dancehall, Spice, Miss Lauryn Hill. Many more acts to be announced. Book now and save the date. For more information, log on to StKittsMusicFestival.net. The St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other.
Come, sail with us through our ocean blues, where there's a blessed land that's waiting for you. Look, listen, feel, realize your dream escape that's magically surreal. The best kept secret, a place you'll never forget, where adventure beckons with every gentle footstep. From lush mountain green to warm volcanic sand, submerged in splendor, our 32 enchanting islands. A kaleidoscope of experiences. No need to look anymore. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Caribbean you're looking for.
Everyone knows, in general, but it's not a problem. If you are talking in general aspects, but if journalists like Javier or me or others start to put names, I mean, it's not just governors, it's this governor, it's not just the police, it's this chief of the police. When we start to put name by name, publish name by name,
Tyrone Theophil stroked a high-class 100, while all-rounder Kavim Hodge produced an electrifying all-round effort to stun Guyana Jaguars and thrust Windward Islands Volcanoes into Saturday's final of the regional Super 50. Volcanoes marched to a 52-run victory under the Duckworth-Lewis method and will now face defending champions Barbados Pride in the championship finale. Left with the burden of completing the highest successful run chase of the tournament, Jaguars' target was then revised to 284 of 47 overs following the final of several rain breaks during the innings, but they never found momentum and lost, steadily collapsing to 231 all out of 44.2 overs.
Edge and gone. Well, second time, not lucky. Lured him into the trap, entice the aggressive shot yet again. Stopping, starting, it's the risk. Playing when there's a 70% chance of rain. It was a firm strike. Decision pending. Oh dear, oh dear. He is definitely short of his ground.
Oh, yeah.
He has hit it back to the bowler, who is celebrating in fine style. Johnson was at 6s and 7s, didn't quite know what was happening. And he's picked this up straight to the man at backward square, again looking to hit through the onside. Positive things we've seen from them is how they've gone between the wickets, and this has gone high, hasn't gone far, into the hands of Obed McCoy, and another wicket.
Got him. The first ball from Edwards. 2 and 2 for Larry Edward. What a night the Volcanoes are having here with the ball.
That's ball very high. Chance for a catch. Taken. That's a crucial wicket. Quick single, and I think he might be gone. I'm sure he's going to go up the stairs. Clearly gone. So a big nail in the coffin there of the Ghana Jaguars. Nice shot off the legs. Will he take it? Yes, that's the end of the match. What a victory for the Volcanoes.
Staying with cricket, Captain Jason Holder says West Indies will be taking nothing for granted during the upcoming ICC World Cup qualifiers, despite entering as the highest-ranked side. The two-time former world champions are the favourites to grab one of the two remaining spots for next year's World Cup in England. Holder says his players would be entering the tournament on the heels of the regional Super 50 and couple. With the upcoming warm-up matches, he expected them to be well prepared. Now, following warm-up matches against Afghanistan and Nepal, West Indies opened their bid on March 6th against UAE, who recently won the ICC World Cricket League Division II tournament in Namibia, before taking on PNG 2 days later and Ireland on March 10th. They wind up their group action against the Netherlands on March 12th. The top three from each group will advance to the Super Sixes, where they will each play 3 matches against teams they did not meet in the preliminaries. The finalists will secure the final 2 berths at the ICC World Cup scheduled for England next year from May 30th to July 15th. Over to athletics now. Doubled Olympic gold medalist Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce will miss this year's Commonwealth Games. The Jamaican sprinter told TVJ's Simon Preston she wants to take it easy this season.
Commonwealth is definitely out, you know. Stephen and I have decided that, you know, it's... So right now we don't want to rush and we don't want to put myself out there and then end up getting hurt and, you know, delay anything. So it's out. It's unfortunate, but it's out.
Fraser-Pryce, who was delivering at a lecture at the University of Technology at the Howard Aries Lecture Series, says that despite the fact that training is going well, she's not setting any time frame on her return.
I mean, so far it's good. It's not bad. Comparing where we have been for the last couple of months and where I am now, I think I'm in a good place. You know, there's no rush. Honestly, I'm trying to take it, you know, a day at a time and try and get back to, you know, that strength and, you know, making sure that I'm injury-free and, you know, just waiting for the time when I hit the track.
The two-time Olympic 100-meter champion, who is the first Caribbean woman to win 3 100-meter world titles, is however not short of confidence of getting back to her best at running 10.7s.
In the next, hopefully this year or next year, the relationship that Stephen and I share will, because remember, I'll be one of the first, probably the first athlete that has, for him, he has been coached to come back from, you know, having a baby, and persons are waiting waiting to see what will happen. And I'm going to tell you this right here, right now. It will be one of the greatest comebacks ever.
Over in Trinidad and Tobago, another senior athlete has lashed out at the sports ministry. Tobago-born sprinter Kellyanne Batiste says she's not getting much needed financial support from her home country. Batiste, who won bronze medals for TNT in the World Champs in Daegu and Beijing, says she has to seek funding elsewhere. Her comments came mere days after double Olympic medalist Richard Thompson chastised the ministry for showing him disrespect. More in this report.
For the second time in less than a week, another TNT athlete has stepped out of their lane and spoke out on the long-running issue of elite funding. In a phone conversation with us today, World Championships bronze medalist Kellyanne Batiste had as much revelations as Richard Thompson's emails.
I didn't get anything from the government in 2011. We didn't get anything from them in 2015. And I feel like as women in sport, we have done a lot in terms of exposure for the country.
Women like Kellyanne might have represented well, but they've found it hard to get elite funding in return.
In the past, I've had issues with just paperwork issues with them. I just stopped financial funding, and I've 100% funded my entire career, mind you, by, with shoe sponsorship and things like that. But I've just not dealt with Trinidad because I feel like I don't really want to go through that hassle and waste my time and just get into, anything with them because of that.
TNT isn't paying her back for her life on the track, and it's an expensive sport.
My coaching fee is $10,000 US a year. That's that right there, right? Every week I have massage therapy. I see two different people. One person charges me $100, the other person charges me $80. I get acupuncture treatment. That's $60, right? I buy groceries every week, and this is all US.
Similar to Tom.
And that's the Sports Day with us. We'll be right back.
Barbados, renowned for its pristine beachfront and fantastic weather, continues to leave quite an impression on newcomers to the island and returning visitors. The Caribbean island, quite popular as a vacation hotspot, is not only beautiful due to its natural aesthetics. The island of Barbados continues to grow in popularity because of unique connections developed with our people, our culture. We can't wait to welcome you.
Again, the major developments of this day: the opposition in Barbados walks out of Parliament and pledges not to return until there's a new government. And in sport, Windward Islands volcanoes to face Barbados Pride in this weekend's final of the Regional Super 50. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sports round the clock, log on to CarnaNews.com. We'll be back here again on Monday. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching. Have yourselves a good night.